Okay, so this week I'm just no new material or anything. I'm just going to talk about the paper that you need to write and submit. Actually, hold on a second. I need to revise this. Okay. All right. So this paper, right, is due Sunday, December 6th, right before midnight. All right. Okay. All right. Is it right? December 6th is Sunday, right? Yep. Okay. All right. So that's when you turn the paper. Got to turn the paper in. So you have about what? About 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks actually, a little under 3 weeks. The paper is not like super long and it's not like super difficult. It's just like a summary paper. Okay. So you're gonna wrap up like you had all these different assignments over the course of the semester, these weekly assignments, and you're going to summarize all of that into one sort of statement, right? Coherent statement. And there are going to be 4 steps. Okay. So step 1. We did this, I think, like week 4 or so around then, right? So we talked about the notion of conceptual analysis at the beginning of the semester, and we used that as a way of clarifying what it means for life to be meaningful. And so you want to tell me what are the necessary conditions of your own life to be meaningful. That was actually an assignment, and over the course of the semester, we talked about these notions. So when you talk about necessary conditions, you can include these. You don't have to include these. If you don't, you want to explain why, right? So if you think, for instance, that you don't need to live a moral life in order to be meaningful, if that's not a necessary condition, then explain why. So you need to address these 4. You can add more necessary conditions, and that's fine, but you have to at least address these 4. Either tell me why you don't need them, or if you do, then give me an analysis. So if you say happiness is required in order for your life to be meaningful, tell me what happiness is. Okay? So that's the first part of your paper. Okay? Step 2, tell me what human beings are, right? And so we talked about this too, right? Are human beings completely physical? Are we just like, any other kind of animal that we're made up of the same kind of parts, like protons, neutrons, and electrons? Are we completely a product of some kind of like evolutionary process? Is that what human beings are? Okay? Or do human beings have some kind of like spiritual or some kind of like, element like that, like a soul or something like that? Did human beings not come completely from evolution? Were they created by God? That's what you want to tell me about human beings. Okay? Then, once you tell me and explain, right, be sure to, right, when I use the word physical, right, I use it in a particular way. I mean, like, anything that has a location in space and time, and anything that can play a causal role with anything else. So a physical thing can cause some other physical thing to be a certain way, and it's going to be located in space. It's basically something that science can study, like physicists or biologists or chemists can study this thing if it's physical. If it's not physical, science has no access to it. Okay? So you want to tell me that, and once you tell me what human beings are like, what you think. Remember, this is all about your view, not anybody else's. Don't tell me about what other people might think. I only care about what you think. So once you tell me what human beings are, then you're going to go back and you tell me this stuff up here, right? Happiness, love, morality, these sorts of things. What are they? Okay? Are they all just products of the brain? Like happiness, is that just like, for instance, the pleasure centers of your brain activating, oxytocin maybe, serotonin, dopamine? Is that what happiness is? Same thing with love. Oxytocin is also called like a love hormone. It's something that basically encourages bonding between, say, like a mother and a child or something like that. Is that what love is? And so on and so forth. All these things, are these just things that occur in the brain? Okay? Or if you think they come from a soul, right? If they're parts of a soul, where did was it something programmed by God? Where did these sorts of things come from? Okay, did these things develop as a result of evolution? Did these things come from God? Did these things come from some other kind of spiritual source? That's what you want to explain to me here. What these things are and where they came from. Okay. Um, right. right? How did these, I'll add that part. How did these notions originate, right? Did they develop, right, through evolution? Were they programmed into us by God, right? Right? Is it something else? Some other, right? Is it some other account? Right? Okay? So that's the second step. First step, talk to me about these sorts of notions that make your life meaningful. Talk to me about what human beings are, and by telling me what human beings are, tell me what these things are as well. And then third step, tell me what explains why everything is the way it is, right? Is everything physical? If everything is physical, then basically you have these laws of nature that put these things to like cause and effect relationships, and that's what explains why anything in the universe happens. It's all a result of, say, like probability, laws of nature, cause and effect relationships. That's the complete explanation for everything, okay? Right? Or is it something else, right? Is God involved in this process of explaining why individuals are the way they are? Hold on. Give me one sec. Okay. So is everything explained by the will of God? What God's plan, God's design? Is it explained by something else? You want to give me a big picture view, okay? Right? And tell me how human beings fit into this big picture. Okay? Are human behavior, humans desiring happiness, meaningfulness, is this something that's explained completely by evolution and science? Or do you need religion or some other kind of non-scientific theory to explain why human beings are the way they are? Okay? So you use this kind of theory, you explain why human beings care about happiness, why they care about love and all these sorts of things. Are they driven by evolutionary mechanisms? Are they driven by a desire for God or a desire to become liberated and become one with Brahman, like in Hinduism? Or they desire some kind of knowledge or understanding that also gives them liberation, similar like in Hinduism or, say, Buddhism? What's going on? What is it that, explains why we move in the direction in life that we do? Okay? So step 3 is your big picture statement. So your paper has these 3 parts. Again, all this stuff we covered in the weekly assignments, right? I think it was like assignment number 7, I asked you about this, and then like 9, 10, 11, these assignments, we talk about this, and we apply this big picture view to things like morality and freedom, which is what you're working on currently. And then wrap it all up. Step 4 is the final step, right? Once you tell everything, you can tell me in summary, right? You can answer this question: what is the meaning of life? Right? You should be able to tell me that. You have it all, okay? So in concluding, give me your answer to this question, and that's your paper. This is the grading rubric right here. I'm going to look to see if you did conceptual analysis correctly, if you explained things correctly. So in explaining, remember, right? You're establishing the question, right? You're telling me, right, how your views about human beings and how your view about everything connects upwards to notions like happiness and love, these notions that are central for meaningfulness. Did you engage with the course material, right? So when you're telling me this, do I see an understanding of the stuff that I talked about in the videos and that you talked about in your assignments, right? It has to relate back to that kind of material, as well as like the readings too, because the readings are another kind of stream and a source of like information that's supposed to supplement this whole topic of the meaning of life. And finally, was your paper clear and readable? That's just like spelling, grammar, right? Did you not give me a headache when I try to read your paper, basically, right? So all of this together, right, adds up to 20 points, and the paper is 20% of your grade. So the grading should be fairly straightforward. Okay? And that's it. That's your paper. If you have any questions about the paper, if you have any questions about details, about whatever, just email me and let me know. Okay? All right. That's it.